myFlashStore.net, the internet's #1 beat marketplace.
What's going on, everybody? My name is SuperstarO. I'm a music producer, a sound designer, and a music engineer. The way I got into producing music was actually I started off as an artist. When I was younger, I really wanted to be a rapper, and I did it for a few years. I think from probably 15 to 18 or so, and I was actually really good at it, and I wrote for some other people and did stuff like that. But where I'm from, small city called Dayton, Ohio, Dayton is in Ohio, there's really not much of a music scene there. Even if I'm talented, I'd have to go out somewhere and you know, travel and stuff, and I didn't have the funds, or I wasn't the age to do that either, and I had never even been out of the state yet. So it just didn't really seem realistic to me. And also I just kind of veered away from it because I'm more of a person, I'm not really an artist type of person. I don't like to be having to perform and be in front of all these people, unless I'm DJing or something. That would be cool. But you know, you can't go to the mall, or you can't go anywhere and enjoy life alone. You gotta have security with you or something if you're like a huge rapper or something, and that just isn't for me. And I used to watch my producer, who was making my beats, make the beats for me. And you know, we would sit there and tell him like, oh yeah, change this and change that, and you know, people would say, hey, you got an ear for that, like you can hear like where things should go, or I would have never thought of that, or you can arrange things and do breakdowns and tell me how to do things that I never thought to do, you know what I mean? And they would start saying like, you should maybe look into doing this, and I was like, well, I don't know. And so I would just sit up for hours and hours. You know, we were at his dorm room, and you know, they would go out and party or whatever and mess with some girls or something, and I would stay in there and I would just work on the music and beats for me and my friends to use. And you know, they would come back and be like, dang, you made that or whatever, that's pretty good. You know, it's not like best shit ever or nothing, but you know, for starting off, you're doing good. And some time went by, and just by my first 5 beats or so, I sold them for a couple $100 or something, which is a lot back then, and helped my mom and stuff pay bills. And so I just kind of stuck with that and fell in love with that. It's just kind of a part of me. Music just seems to be something that is just in me. As growing up, I always listened to, you know, my mom would listen to bands like Led Zeppelin and stuff like that, from Creed, and a lot of like rock and roll stuff, and then me over here on the hip hop side. So I kind of just meshed them together, and I just love all kinds of music. And I think growing up and hearing all these crazy melodies and all these crazy, you know, dope musicians kind of just embedded it into me. But I mean, of course, I was inspired by people on the come up, like other producers such as the Runners and Timberland. Those were probably the main ones. But as far as like now, it just kind of comes out. I really don't need any kind of source of inspiration to get started or anything like that. For me, I've always done it where I'll start with the chords, just because you kind of know that's like what the main thing is going to be about. This is probably 95% of the time. Sometimes I might start with drums, or I might start with some crazy little loop I found, or it could be anything. But if I'm starting a beat usually completely from scratch, completely fresh idea, then I'll sit there and I'll find a really nice sound that I like, or I'll make it, and then I'll sit there and I'll just play chords, and I'll just try to, you know, come up with some cool chords. And then once I have some nice chords to run with, and I've laid down a nice you know, loop or melody with those chords, then I kind of just build on from that, and I'll start adding in, you know, other sounds like leads and stuff like that on top of the chords, and maybe layer the chords with other sounds, and then I'll start getting into doing drums and stuff last. So that's usually how I start beats up. So if I had to say one piece of equipment that I have that I couldn't live without, would be this right here, which is my computer tower, of course. I mean, because you can't do anything without that. I mean, it's a beast and everything is in there, but I mean, that's kind of a given. So if we didn't talk about the computer itself, I mean, honestly, one thing I say is nowadays, especially with software, that's why I'm in sound design too, and industrykits.com, me and my sound design team. You know, we make software and packs and stuff for producers to get for cheap and stuff. And one good reason why I got into that too is that it doesn't really matter what you have as far as hardware. I mean, as long as you got some nice software, some nice drums and little plugins and stuff like that, you don't need super crazy expensive keyboards like the Kronos and stuff back there. You don't really even need a super powerful computer. You just need at least powerful enough to do the job. You don't even need a MIDI keyboard. You can sit there and type stuff in. I mean, if you want. I mean, I don't like to do that, but you can. You don't necessarily need any of this stuff. You can kind of do it with just a little laptop and just, you know, some nice software. If you went and got some nice software, then you're pretty much set. But with that being said, one thing that you do need, or that you really do need, is an audio interface, which is this right here. That's my Apollo Duo interface made by UAD. Now that's like one of the top of the line, most expensive, best audio interfaces you can get, but you don't have to have one that high end. It's just maybe once you work your way up, you would want to get one the best that you can get, because your audio interface is kind of one of the hearts to your whole music, just like this computer is. The better quality and the higher quality your audio interface is, the better your sound of the actual productions and the beats and the songs or whatever it is you're making is going to sound. So if you have, you know, if you're using a built-in audio interface that comes in your little laptop or your computer, it's probably going to be a crappy one, and you might not even notice, but your sound and your music is going to be real muddy, and it's not going to be crystal clear and really nice. So I usually recommend spending at least like $200 on your audio interface, and then just work your way up from there. But so if I had to say one thing, I would say the audio interface for sure. So when it comes to splitting up the business side of things and the creative side of things, that's always, you know, something, especially if you're a one-person team like me pretty much when it comes to the beats and stuff. I don't have like a marketing team out here, you know, like a company would have, you know, Pepsi or something. You know, they have factories that make the stuff, and then they have people's jobs is to go out there and promote it and do all that. It's just me. Just like it probably is with many of you, you kind of just have to split it up. And I mean, and it's going to be different for everybody. But one formula that I found when I was coming up was, I would do, you know, say it's Monday, I would do Monday and Tuesday would be nothing but working, nothing but making tracks, nothing but, you know, doing whatever work I need to do in the studio. And then, you know, say Wednesday and Thursday is nothing but promotion, or, you know, or one day, or however many days. And I would just keep going back and forth like that. And on that promotion day, you would, you know, be doing whatever it is you want to do, whatever ideas you can think of to kind of get your stuff out there and market it. So then you're kind of balancing things. And that's pretty much what I do now too, but really it's not really so based on that. Now I just kind of do whatever the day, wherever the day takes me. But nowadays I usually have a whole lot of work to do. So usually every day there's some kind of work that I have to do as well. And then maybe towards the night I work into trying to do some promotion and stuff like that. But you just got to kind of find the perfect balance, and it's going to be different for everybody. Like some people might be, you know, in school, some people might have jobs, some people might have kids they gotta watch, so everybody's gonna have to balance their time differently. But you definitely do want to find a good balance and some kind of schedule where, you know, you gotta realize you can sit there and work hard all day and all night every day making the best music in the world, but if you don't promote it and get it out there as well, nobody's gonna hear it and you're not gonna go anywhere. There's just plenty of things, honestly, that keep me motivated. For one, like I said, I just love music. I love what I do. I love making the music. I love mixing other people's beats and music orders when they send me it to be mixed. I love making the sounds and getting the sound packs out to everybody. It's not like a job where you wake up and you're like, oh, I gotta go sit in this cubicle all day and do something stupid and I hate my job type thing. I honestly love it. And I mean, that's all the motivation I really need. When it comes to music, there's so many people trying to do exactly what you're trying to do, and so many of them are really good at it, just like you are. It used to be, you know, online anyway, that a lot of the producers weren't very good, and there was only a handful that were good. That's not really the case anymore. Now, there's a ton of them that are good, and a lot of them have learned how to get their beats online now, and you know, it's kind of flooding the market. So one of the keys to being successful with it is you just have to find ways to promote and get out there and separate yourself from the rest. And that's what it's going to be like in any company. There's tons of companies that sell pop and chips and whatever, and you have to look at it like, why would they come to you as opposed to them? Like, what makes you different than them? Is it the way you promote your music? Is it the sound of your music? Is it just some really crazy weird stuff that nobody else is really making? I mean, you can sit there and make the hardest shit all day long, but if you're the only one that's hearing it, or you and your friends or something, it's not really doing any good. You got to get it out there, you got to promote it, and you got to get it heard. There's honestly many moments like that, and many things that I did and many things that happened. For one, when I first started off, it was very different from what it is now. I got started way back in the MySpace days, which lets you know that was way back, and when MySpace was even still cool. That's when I started selling beats online. I actually was selling beats on MySpace before I even knew what SoundClick or any of these other websites even were. And it was working, and I was actually, you know, getting sales and stuff that way. One of the main things that worked for me is I got in here before it was such a trend and such a fad, and also I had already had placements. I had already worked with Jim Jones and a couple other major artists, so when I got into it, I already had those under my belt and was like, hey, I've done this and this and that, if you want to check it out too. And then of course the artists are like, oh dang, for real? Now I really want to buy from you. And then as I kept on going, like I had the placement with Wiz Khalifa, which was pretty big, the Pedal to the Metal one on his Cushion Orange Juice mixtape. That kind of flipped things pretty good too, because it was like right when he became a really big artist from just kind of a known artist. That mixtape actually made him really big, and you know, that helped out a lot, and just things like that just going on. I mean, plenty of things, like tons of, literally probably every few months I do something that kind of just takes it to the next level, and that's how it should be. You got to always kind of think ahead. I don't really do anything specific where it's like a strategy and I'm like, oh, I gotta make sure I stand out or whatever, like I gotta do something crazy. I kind of just be me. I mean, and luckily me is just something people like. I don't put on any facade. I don't, you know, have to do or go out of my way to try to make people like me and do anything. I mean, honestly, I'm just usually me, and I'm very social, so I interact with people. I tweet people back, I retweet people, comment back. You know, I do videos and stuff on YouTube, all that type of stuff, which helps out because a lot of people are kind of antisocial that do this, and they don't really like to do stuff like this and talk to people, or some people have big egos and they feel like they're too good to talk back to people or whatever the case might be. So luckily I'm in a very good situation where this is just me and people just kind of, you know, like me and feed into me. So that pretty much works with me and helps me, you know, keep standing out from the rest, I guess. My name is pretty much already built up to a point where it's just like a word of mouth thing. There's so many other people, they'll tell their friends or whatever, hey, you know, I got this producer, he made a custom beat for me, or he has these crazy beats. I get that all the time. So it's like a word of mouth thing a lot of the times. I mean, of course, I do YouTube videos. I do, you know, Facebook. I'm very interactive, like I said, on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat now too. I'm very interactive and I post a lot of stuff. So whenever anybody sees that, of course, the more stuff you're posting, the more people are going to see. You know, they see it that way and they hit me up and I get customers that way. I've gotten customers on Xbox before. I mean, I just wherever, anywhere I can possibly get them at. I mean, I kind of just, I'm there. I just make sure I'm there. You know, I make sure I've joined all the websites or a lot of the websites and have beats on them, because you never know where somebody's going to stumble across one. You know, I make sure my website is very professional and nice, my own website. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know how to answer that one. I just kind of get them from all over the place. I just grinding. I don't really do anything specific like, you know, some people go on Facebook and they spam a comment and leave it on a million people's walls. That stuff does not work. So if you do that, please stop, because it doesn't work. But I don't do anything like that. It's just kind of like I just grind, I go hard, and then word of mouth kind of helps everything take full circle. And then as far as, you know, once you do get the customers, building a relationship with them, you know, that's going to be one of the key things, because you might have somebody come and, you know, buy a super cheap beat lease or something like that, or even like a 99-cent download from SoundClick or somewhere, which I've had myself, and then they come back. You never know what that person might be. You treat them right, you talk to them right, you make sure they're good, you make sure, you know, they have everything they need, you follow up with them on an email, whatever. And they're going to want to keep working with you. They're going to want to keep spending money with you and investing with you. And then they might come back and buy 2, 3, 4, 5 exclusive rights, or who knows, which is one thing that I do. Like, no matter what it is, you know, you're coming to purchase, whether it's a beat or a sound kit or a mix or whatever it is, because I do so many services. It doesn't matter if it's $1 or $5 or $100 or whatever the price. I always make sure, you know, I email them and make sure they have everything they needed, make sure they're good to go, and thank them for the order, and, you know, just kind of be there and let them know this is me. And, you know, I'm not some customer service rep or anything like that. Like, I'm here for you if you need something, and I appreciate you. What got me into myFlashStore was actually not even too long ago. It was a couple years ago, I think, or maybe even not 2 years yet, but it wasn't that long ago when other producers kept telling me, hey, why haven't you automated your stuff yet? Like, you're still manually sending your beats out and stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, I don't mind doing it. And they're like, well, but the customers, you know, like that instant, you know, thing. Like, you'll probably get even more customers doing it. So I went ahead and did it. That's the main thing that attracted me to myFlashStore. I know there's a couple other sites that are like myFlashStore that offer the same kind of thing, but I just also liked myFlashStore because when I looked into it and contacted them and stuff like that, they were nice people. They, you know, got back to you quick. They were just professional about everything, and I like the way the user interface looks. I like the features that are on it, and, you know, the main thing would be the instant download, so that people can just come to my site, you know, add some beats to their cart and check out, and then boom, they get the download link right there in their email. They don't have to wait on me to do anything if they don't want to. And that kind of ties into how myFlashStore has helped the business, which is the instant delivery would be the key thing. Not only the instant delivery, but also having the ability to have coupons. So if I want to do a sale or something like that, I can easily make a coupon code, blast it out to all my customers and say, hey, you know, guys, here's a coupon code you can use and get so-and-so off using the myFlashStore cart, which is something you can't do if you just have a manual little PayPal button or whatever. You'd have to make a whole new PayPal button and whatever. So, you know, having the coupons, having the instant delivery, just the user interface, the way it looks so clean and everything, it really does impact the business and help with beat sales for sure, because image is a lot and features is a lot, and everything is just kind of tied into that myFlashStore player. And at the end of the day, it really does help. And then also they came out with all these new features in their latest update, where you can have collections now and beat tapes now and all types of stuff. So it also is a thing that just keeps getting better and better. And is another key why I use myFlashStore, is because they don't just come out, they didn't just come out and then that's kind of it. They've continuously updated. They listen to the customers and all of us producers on features that we want and that we need, and they try their best and usually do add them, you know, down the line. So that's another thing, most companies don't listen. So, you know, that's one of the main things what I try to do too, is if you really want to know what the customers want, or what your customers or customer base, whatever, wants, you just got to listen to them and just do what they say. But sadly, most businesses don't do that. Like, you'll sit there and tell them over and over, we want this, we need that, why don't you just do this? And they don't do it for some reason. But so when I do find a company that does do that, and they do listen, and they're like, hey, we're trying to keep these customers or get these customers, and they're saying they want this, let's just do it. Then I try to run with them for sure, and that's something that myFlashStore definitely does. So at the moment, when it comes to beat selling online, I'm pretty much just doing what I've always done. I mean, I'm just grinding, making new tracks, and putting them out there. I'm trying to make different sounds, trying to keep up with, you know, what's hot, but also do my own thing, and put all different kinds of music out there, and just keep up with the sales and keep up with the customers, really. Before, when I started producing and got into selling beats online, in the very beginning, I was a very poor person. You know, I always grew up in the projects, in the hood, you know, like literally really bad neighborhoods, really projects, not just like you lived in a bad street or nothing. Like, I'm from the real projects, and also being homeless and stuff as a kid for years and years with my mom. So when I really did find the talent of being able to make beats, and then found that you can you know, funnel this and sell them online, it literally completely changed my whole life, which, you know, actually allowed me to put the music online and sell it and be able to, you know, pay bills and help pay bills, when as before that wasn't a thing that was possible at all. I mean, even as something as being able to buy food, because some days I didn't even have food. So what it means to me to be able to do it is everything. I mean, that's to sum it all up. This isn't kind of the life story interview, but to keep it short, it means everything, and it changed everything. Something I haven't said is, if this is something that you know for sure you want to do, then go for it. It might take some time, just like anything else, but if you really want to do this and you really want to make it work, just go for it and keep on going. But make sure that it is something that you know for a fact that you do want to do, because it is going to take time just like anything else, and time is something that you don't get back. Once it's spent, it's gone. So, you know, if you're not 100% sure that you want to do something, then don't do it. You know, kind of sit there and think about it for a while before you get into it, because like I said, time is the most precious thing in the world, and once it's spent, you can never get that back. On the other hand now, once you do get into it, if this is something you want to stick with, it would be, like I said, make sure that you're finding a good balance to where you're not just trying to make the hardest tracks in the world non-stop, and then, you know, every now and then sending out a tweet, check out my beats at this website or this link, because that's not going to work. You have to go hard. You have to go just as hard with the promotion side of things as you are with the beats. So all that time and all that hard work you do in the studio or whatever on your setup, you know, making the tracks, you have to go that hard as well on the promotion side. You have to figure out new ways to get people to come to your site. You have to figure out what to do and how to do it to get people to come and listen to them and want to buy them. You have to go hard for that. You can't just, the days where you could just make a little post and people would flood to it or whatever, or you can message a bunch of people and spam a bunch of people, those days are over. You really have to go hard for that. So make sure you balance that out, and you know, let that sink in how important it is to promote everything as well. And then also another thing would just be to make sure that you're kind of you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with making beats that are hot right now or something like that because you think people are going to want to buy them or whatever because that's what's on the radio. So maybe only do like some of your tracks like that. Like you have some of them that are like, oh, okay, this is a mustard type beat, or this is a whatever is hot right now type beat. But for your main catalog, it's just beats that you actually wanted to make, that you make, like not some other rip-off producer sound or nothing like that, because that's one thing that customers are gonna buy into, and that's something that I've learned over the years, is that they might go online and they might be like, you know what, I want to find a DJ Mustard type beat or something because I want to do a little whatever type song that's hot right now. But for the majority of the time, they want to find something that they hear that just inspires them. They don't care if it sounds like some other shit or not. They usually actually don't want it to sound like some other shit. And music is something that you can feel. So when you put a lot of time and effort into something and it genuinely is coming from you, it's not like you just tried to remake some beat that was on the radio, or you're just trying to remake this or sound like that. If it's something that is genuinely coming from you that you're really into, and you're just making something that's dope, you're not really trying to do anything like that, that's something you can hear too, and the customers can hear that. And music is kind of more than just sound, it's a feeling, you know what I mean? That'll draw them in and inspire them, and then, you know, they'll be like, yeah, you know, I want to do a song to this, and then boom, you got a sale. So a lot of producers try to get too tied up into being what's, you know, the sound that's hot right now, you know, like all their beats will be nothing but whatever's hot right now, like just a whole 20 mustard beats and Drake sounding dark ambient beats, which is also kind of what's hot right now. And that's not really, you shouldn't do that. I mean, you can do that if you want, but I'm just, as a key, I'm just letting you know it's okay to do a few tracks like those because you want to have them there just in case somebody's looking for that sound and they're wanting to follow the trend and follow the fad. But for at least 60 to 70% of your catalog, you want it to just be nothing but original stuff you came up with. It's not a rip-off of something else. It's not a remake or trying to sound like another producer or another song that's already hot. It's just something you sat down and you made. So you might not be an artist or a rapper or nothing, but you will learn that your customers and the artists and the rappers that are buying from you are also buying into you as a producer, and they want to work with you. And, you know, you don't want to just be a little, you know, produce or beat maker that's just all you do is remake other stuff that's out there already. You want to have your own sound, and you want to establish your own being. And then so maybe even at one point you can get the placements and be the next thing that's hot that all the producers are trying to remake sounds like. But that'll never happen if you're just sitting there remaking and trying to be some other producer that you're not.